What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you how I have created a fulfilling life. And honestly, most people don't believe my story when I share it because of where I've came from to where I am now. And this is the reason why I share from such a vulnerable space, because my life has had immense challenges in it, just like I'm sure yours has as well. But the difference between me and most people in our world is I have chosen to take my challenges, to take my pain and explore them and find my gifts within them. And something that's coming through right now is even just speaking in front of camera, even just speaking in front of an audience. There was a point in my life when I was deathly afraid of that. The first video that I ever did took me about 4 hours for a recorded 60-second video that I then later posted. And that was many years ago. So at this point in my life, I've had thousands of hours of practice of being in front of the camera, being in front of audiences, and that develops confidence. In creating a life that you truly love, that you truly feel fulfilled with, it takes immense work. And I want to share a story with you about something that I recently shared at the Awake Live event, which was in Texas, which, by the way, shout out to all of the badass souls that came into this space and did some really deep work. It was the best 3 days of my life. There were 200 people in this space, and the amount of healing and breakthroughs and connections that happened from this event were truly amazing. It was just so humbling to be facilitating this, me and Melissa. And I shared at the event how I got to this space. And about 6 years ago, I was visiting Texas for the very first time. And I was actually walking around the Gaylord Texan with one of my really good friends, Poojan. And he said to me, "How beautiful is this space?" I said, "It's amazing." He goes, "Can you imagine doing an event here?" And I thought to myself, I'm like, wow, that would be so cool to see this unfold, to see this really happen and bring this to life, and to create this type of environment where people could come and go deep and connect with each other and heal parts of themselves that they didn't even know needed to be healed. So for the past 6 years, putting in so much work within myself, putting in work with my business and my relationships, and really just continuing to tune my vibration led me to the point of facilitating that event. So it's not like you just wake up one day and all of a sudden your life is just perfect the way you want it. It's constant refinement. But there's another thing to be said about this. Your life is not meant to be an endless self-help book. Let me say that again. Your life is not meant to be an endless self-help book. And for a long time, that is how I lived. I became so serious with spirituality that I actually cut myself off from having fun and enjoying this process. I cut off relationships that actually brought me a lot of fulfillment, and I became very isolated. I stopped doing a lot of the things that I loved. So as I've integrated back with my human experience, with the spirituality, it's a blend, it's an integration. So what I'm encouraging you to think about and feel about, if you want to live a fulfilling life, there are going to be so many moments of discomfort, of challenge, of embracing your fears. For example, maybe you're at a job right now that does not fulfill you. You're waking up, you're stressed out, you're going to it, and you feel almost like a robot, stuck in this matrix, stuck in this system. But you keep doing it and keep doing it, and it's draining your soul, it's draining your energy. And I was in that exact same position. And that is when I had to get really real with myself. And at one point, I said, fuck this. I am no longer going to be a slave to this matrix. I am no longer going to be a slave to this matrix. And that's exactly how I felt. So if right now in your life, if you are living a life in a box, whether that's a job that you don't want to be in or a romantic relationship that you don't really want to be in, but you're staying in and you're settling there because you're afraid to leave, that is when you are out of alignment. And the universe wants to help you. The universe wants to guide you. But the universe cannot guide you, cannot help you if you are not willing to work into alignment. It takes work to heal yourself, to heal the childhood trauma, the broken templates, the mother, the father wounds, your own negative, self-limiting patterns, the abandonment, the betrayal, the shame, the fear, the guilt, all shit that I've held on to. It takes immense work to go into that pain, to clear it, to let it go. And it's not like a one and done process. As I shared with the attendees at the event, I said this is kind of like a water filtration system. In my house, I have this amazing water filtration. It is a 10-stage process. The water comes in dirty, contaminated, and leaves eventually through all the filtration process pure. It's a continuous refinement to purify our water so we can see clear. And the problem is so many people are clouded, are calcified, not only at a physical level, but an emotional level because they're holding on to trauma in their body. And their water is mucky, is muddy, and they don't see clearly. So in that sense of healing, we find clarity. We find a greater sense of purpose through our pain because we learn that through changing and shifting our perception of this life allows us to see the beauty of life. And just a little while ago, I was walking the dog in the snow with Melissa, and I was playing in the snow, rolling around in the snow, and I said, isn't this interesting? Just a week ago, we were on the beach in Florida playing in the sand. And most people complain about the snow. They complain about the cold. But I'm having just as much fun in the snow as I was in the sand. Now, what is the difference there? It's perception. I'm choosing to see the snow as equally as fun as the sand. And even in moments of discomfort or challenges that happen in my life, my business, and my relationships, I've learned to train myself to see through it, to ask deeper questions, to be more reflective and say, what is this here to teach me? Why is this manifesting in my life? What can I learn from this experience? And I believe that one of the number one reasons why most people feel stuck in life is because they stay stuck in a victim mentality. Everything is happening to me. And I lived in this reality for so long, and it is so self-limiting when we live like that. So I want you to do an audit of your life right now and ask yourself, are you living the life that you desire? Are you experiencing the relationships, the intimacy, the love, the freedom that you really desire? And if your answer is no, or even kind of, and if it's not a full fuck yes, then what is stopping you? What is it that is blocking you from really being free to experience that freedom, to experience that love? Is it because you don't feel worthy of it? Or is it because you're afraid to fail? Or no matter what you do in this life, you never feel enough? So sit with those questions. Feel your way through it. And it's through our inner reflection, in our inner awareness, that we begin to awaken. We begin to clean out the clutter, if you will. Most of us are living a life that is out of alignment. And if we begin moving into alignment, our life and our reality begins to change because we transcend from this lower vibration of fear, shame, and guilt, and we start to climb the ladder of consciousness. Now, this is a integration process. It takes time. It's kind of like a baby being born. When that baby comes out of the womb into this world, it has pretty much no senses about it. Can't even hold its head up. But through time and integration, the baby learns to trust itself, begins to slowly crawl, begins to slowly walk. Maybe it stumbles and fumbles and falls down, but eventually it gains confidence. Eventually, that baby learns to trust itself, to trust its body, to trust its intuition and what it feels. And we are just like that baby, but we've been so clouded with the trauma, with the toxins, and all the stuff that's lodged inside our body at a physical and emotional level that we can't see clearly and we don't trust our intuition. And your intuition is a feeling, a vibrational feeling that moves through your body. And it's normally the first response that we get to something when we're sitting with it. But then our mind comes in and it starts judging, judge, and trying to control and analyze and make logical sense of things. Now, the logic is important at times, but I really believe that our intuition is often the truth, where the mind and the logic and the ego become very clouded because they all want control and they're very limited. So as we tune in and open ourselves, open our energetic body, and heal our nervous system trauma responses, because that sometimes gets confusing with people. They think that they're having an intuitive response, but it's actually a trauma response that's locked inside of your body. And you open to that divine intuition. You begin living and leading a life from that space. You don't always need a logical explanation for why something doesn't feel right. You don't need to justify it. You don't need to say sorry for it. Living a life of authenticity requires you to embrace your true power. Stop tiptoeing through life. Stop apologizing for who you are. Learn to open yourself and move in the way that feels natural to you. Pulling your shoulders back, grounding yourself. For example, I'm going to give two quick stories, something that happened at the event. The first one was a man named Aaron. And when Aaron came on stage to do a one-on-one breakthrough with me, he came up and I said, "Will you please introduce yourself to the crowd?" Now he's in front of about 200 people at this point, very brave for coming up. And Aaron said, "Hello, I'm Aaron." And he said it so timidly. And I literally said to him, "What the fuck was that?" Now here you have this big 6'3", really handsome, strong, physically fit man with low confidence. Shoulders all leaned forward when he came on stage, kind of tiptoeing on the stage, very timid. And I said, "Here's what we're going to do, Aaron." And I took him around back behind the curtain. And I said to him, I said, "Listen, when you walk back on that stage, I want you to walk like a fucking lion. I want you to embody that strength of your heart. And when you speak from an embodied place. Can you do that for me? Can you make this promise to me?" So I did a little bit of work with him and I got him back on stage. And I said, "Now I want you to introduce yourself, Aaron." He goes, "Hi, I am Aaron." And the whole crowd started going crazy because you could see the physiology change in this man. And I said, "I want you to embody that lion and roar like a lion." And he actually started roaring like a lion on the stage and embodying that power that lives within him. And so many of us have been disconnected from that power because we don't believe in it. We don't trust it. And we tiptoe through life, or we're trying to force and control shit like old Ramrod Rick. Or controlling Carol. That's another one I came up at the event. The other story I want to share with you is this. There was a woman who stood up towards the end of the event, and she started sharing with me about what she was desiring. And I could feel that she was so stuck in her mind and so trapped in her masculine energy. And I said, here's what we're going to do. So I want you to step back 3 steps and look around the crowd and find a man that you're going to go on a date with right now in this moment. And the whole crowd was like, oh, what? Like, what's going on here? So we pull a man up and he's standing behind me. I said, but before you get to him, we're going to do some training. So I had her walk to me at first. And the first time she walked to me was very timid, afraid. And so I shifted some things within her. Then I had her walk to me again like a lioness this time, embodying her inner goddess energy, pulling her shoulders back. And I gave her the mantra, swirl, flow, open. And at one point, the entire crowd of women was chanting, swirl, flow, open. And she had a thing in her hair that was holding her hair up. And I said, why don't you take that down? And she took it down. And she swirled her hair around and she walked to me. And the crowd was going crazy because you could feel her feminine essence and her feminine power as she flowed through the room like a piece of silk blowing in the wind. And then when she walked to the man, you could just feel their energies. You could feel his masculine and you could feel her feminine as she so beautifully and elegantly walked over to him and approached him. And once again, I have learned that embodying your true natural core essence, whether masculine or feminine, and leading from that space really plugs people back into their power quickly. So if in this moment right now you are animating a lot of energy, either masculine or feminine, that's not natural to your body, you probably feel very burned out because of it. So I want to leave you with this. What can you do in this moment to begin to make small changes for your life? What can you do right now, today? And this is what I'm going to encourage you to do. This is what I'm going to invite you to do. Make a commitment in yourself. Make a commitment in yourself. Whatever that commitment is. Whether the commitment to, I'm going to start dancing, I'm going to start meditating, I'm going to start working out, I'm going to start eating healthier, I'm going to leave this shitty relationship, I'm going to leave this shitty job. What is the commitment? What is the promise that you are going to make to yourself to start living and embodying the life that you truly desire? Now, as you heard me say, this is an integration process. This is a continuous process of refinement as you purify the water through the many stages of evolution. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. If it brought you value, please right now, so you don't forget, take a screenshot of it, share it to your Instagram story, and tag me. That would mean the world to me. And as always, stay open, stay loving, and stay connected to that beautiful source within you.